in law, is the Abuja Municipal Area Council a local government? Would you say AMAC?
Really, AMAC is not a local government per se. The man that has been given the assignment, the FCT minister, cannot on his own be delegate. No, delegatus, not protest delegate. You cannot delegate what has been delegated when we say local government, but act whatever is inside.
If you feel that the man will not of course, it's so. Fundamental right not to appear before it. He may have his reasons. In this, the conclusion in this issue is that we really don't know who is the accuser and who is the judge, who is the prosecutor. Jubril raised the issue of the house was defensive.
Hello viewers, and welcome once again to our program Legally Speaking. Legally Speaking is that program in which we look at power, politics and policies from the eyes of the law. My name is Chijoke Kanu. Today we are going to look at the issue of certificate of origin or indigeneship certificate, to look for its place in the law and in the constitution and even in our national procedure. I will introduce you to my guest, but that will be after this time out. This is Legally Speaking. As I said at the opener, today we are looking at the issue of certificate of origin or certificate of indigeneship, as they call it. We want to look at the origin, we want to look at legality, we want to look at the purpose. And as I promised, I have with me on set today two legal practitioners from the Federal Capital Territory to look at this issue. And from my immediate left is Prince Al Wokoma. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And my right, I have Mr. Danladi Plank. He's also a legal practitioner. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, certificate of origin, certificate of indigeneship has several names, but it is one document. And I guess as lawyers, you guys know what I'm talking about. What is it? How can we describe it to somebody who is listening to us now or watching us who doesn't understand what we're talking about? Let me start with that.
Let me start by looking at what I have. I have a certificate of indigeneship issued to me by my local government, and I think the purport of that certificate is to identify or to say that I come from a community within that particular local government. So it's like a document that identifies me as somebody that belongs to a community within the local government council.
All right. What does that mean to you?
Well, as my colleague have just said, that is what I think that's exactly what he tried to put forward to everybody, that you are from a particular local government, and under that local government, under that paper, your community is also stated. Yes. And it shows that you are from there, and they even request for it in most part of Nigeria, wherever you go to, employment, if you want to, only in the market they don't ask, if not everything you want to do, they ask for it. So where is your certificate of indigeneship?
Yes. It is the certificate is meant to show where community you are coming from a particular local government.
Yes.
What is the basis of that certificate? The Constitution.
I think if you look at the copy he has, because I don't have one, but my children they do. There is a provision of a bylaw on it, give them the power to do what they've done. So they have a bylaw. It's not a national or not a state law.
Yeah, but thank you, sir. But citizenship is governed by the constitution. What is the position of the bylaw? As when they are acting under a bylaw, what would that bylaw be?
Well, one can only assume a number of factors why local governments issue a certificate of indigeneship. Apart from the issue of the bylaw that he has mentioned, if you look at the Constitution, Constitution talks about federal character, that in appointments into various positions, whether at the state or the federal level, that the people in power are supposed to take into consideration, our diversity, that we have people from different parts of the country, and as such, it is important that we, in the spirit of national integration, we try as much as possible to appoint people from different localities, so that the government or a particular institution is not dominated by people from one section of the country. The second one, which is similar to that also, is constitutional provision on the appointment of ministers and appointment of commissioners. It talks about ensuring that at least each state is represented in the Federal Executive Council, where you have ministers, and each local government is represented in the cabinet at the state level. And I think, that what the local governments have tried to do is to issue certificates that will show that somebody comes from a particular locality for the purpose of complying with the federal character position of the Constitution. So for you to establish that you are from a particular part of the country, to qualify for appointment to represent that particular part of the country, you need to show the certificate of origin or certificate of indigenship that you belong to that particular locality. So if I am the head of a particular institution and I want to appoint people, it will be difficult for me to say who belongs to a particular community. And I may need something in writing that shows that you belong to that particular locality. And that certificate of indigenship comes handy.
Okay. What is your thought on that?
Yes, in addition to what he has said, and I to disagree a little bit. You see, the certificate of indigenship most times is forged. It's forged in the sense that I'm from Asartor local government of River State. I can go to Plateau and bribe the chairman to give me the certificate of origin. They've done that a lot. Most of my local government, most of them are not from that local government, but they've taken money and done it. But I think if you watch the new ID card policy, the national ID card, I've taken care of all those things. If you look at, if you have one, you bring it out. Your state of origin is there. Your hometown is also there, and the number is also there of your local government, and that one cannot be forged because it's a central thing. When you got it once, you've got it once. I don't think you need to renew them unless there is another policy coming up. So before, the Civic Registration Act National Civic Registration Act used to take care of some of these things, but the NIMS, that is the National ID Card Management Commission, have repealed that act, and they've come better. So I think with that one coming up, the bylaw really have no place anymore in the national discourse.
What people say that certificate of origin is deepening the divide in this country rather than...
No, let us, my honorable colleague, let us not deceive ourselves. What divide? So where I come from should be hidden because I don't want to have problems with it. Only when we discuss about hate speech, it's just that we are naturally wicked people around here. If not, what is the divide? Even in the home, in your home, your father has 2 wives. Can you hide that one, that there are 2 children from 2 different women? Love is the only thing. It's not causing any divide. I must know where I come from. I'm a Calabari man before I become a Rivers man and a Nigerian. Nobody can hide that.
Yes, I think I also tend to agree with him in a way. I think the certificate itself and what it contains should not divide us. But I think it is the use or abuse of the certificate that will divide us. If, for instance, we continue to insist that for people to be appointed in certain positions, they must have to go back to their localities or where their parents come from to obtain a certificate before they can be appointed, that is what will cause the division. I think people need to continue to identify with where they come from as a basis for even for national integration. Knowing that you come from a particular part of the country and you are part of the Nigerian community is good enough for me to accept you as a brother. But when we use that to to say people should not be appointed or people should not be given certain positions, that is what will really divide us.
Now, the certificate you said could be forged.
Yeah.
Now, the way they use it today in practice, does it really achieve what it meant to be achieved by those who issue it?
No, you see, the people who issue it are not even serious about it. What is it's an IG project. They use it to internal generation. The local government make it to make money. So most times they don't even scrutinize who comes before them for these identification purposes. Unlike the national ID card. The national ID card, if you're under 16, somebody must bring you and show. Even you that have more information about me can come forward and say, no, that age of birth you are talking about is not the same thing what I have. What I have is that you were born at so place and this is the day you were born. You understand? And you are registered and there is no age limit to that registration. But the other one, you just come, like some people just send the passport of it's not even captured on site. They just send the passport and the name no data. They just issue the certificate. If you go to their records, I'm sure there are no records there that you were there. Most of the local government.
Even my colleague here, even the national ID card, even that one too, people may not be truthful in what they are given. You understand? The time I collected my certificate of indigeneship as far back as 1986 when I just came out from secondary school. I went to the local government, but they directed me to go back to my district to go and get a letter from my district head and village head confirming that I belong to that community. And then I brought it to the local government. It was then they issued me with the certificate of indigeneship. I agree with him that people forge. Because when I went to university in 1989, I was doing my registration in ABU. And they were requesting for certificate of indigeneship, and then I produced it. And the registration officer asked me to speak the language of my community.
Yes. No, yeah. Maybe because it comes from there.
He's from a particular community close to my own.
Understanding.
And I tried to resist. He said no, that I must speak it. That because yesterday, during the registration process, he had sent away a particular person who claimed to be from my community. But from the way the person was talking, he knew that person was not from my community. And he said because of that, I must speak that language for him. And I did before he registered me. But
come to state the best. Can all of us speak the language from where we come from?
Well, we'll come back to this topic after this break. Join us. Welcome back to the program. It's still legally speaking, and my guests are still here. Wokoma and Janadi Plank. They're all legal practitioners in the FCT. Gentlemen, before we went on that short break, we were talking about. Janadi was talking about identifying who is carrying the correct certificate. But for me, there is this issue. It seems that the certificates that they still today is linked only to biological roots. Biological roots. Why is it like that?
No, every certificate of indigenous or citizen must be rooted. You have to come from somewhere. You have to be rooted.
This one is rooted in birth.
In birth.
Biologically.
Yeah, not in birth. It's not in birth. It's through your parents, really.
Yes.
Because most of us are born somewhere. You understand? We don't even speak the language of that locality of our parents, but we are told that that is where we came from. Some of us have never lived there, some of us have lived there.
Yes.
But it's implied. So it's not rooted through bad, but it's through your parents mostly.
But is it correct to root it through my parents when I may not have been to where my parents were born or something? Is it correct legally? Can I be restricted to getting the certificate only from where my parents come from?
No,
If
legally.
there are other routes.
No, legally it's correct because that's what the Nigerian Constitution says. Legally in Nigeria, that is what the Constitution says.
Yep.
And even the citizenship of appointment and everything, we have a lot of problems appointing wives to represent a particular state when they came from another state. We had issues.
Yeah. But
So you see, just like he said, if you look at the constitutional provision on citizenship,
Yes.
I think the first one on birth, talks about Nigerian being a citizen of Nigeria if his parents or grandparents belong to a community that is indigenous.
Indigenous, that it could be from Niger.
Okay, so my parents belong to a community that is indigenous to in Plateau State or in Mangu local government. Okay, and therefore, because if you look at our own, even the communal life in Nigeria, it's largely patrilineal. From where your father comes from. So naturally, for me to get that certificate, I have to go to where my father comes from. I think that if you have not tried, if you go to where your mother comes from, maybe your father is from the east and your mother is from the north. If you go to the north to get certificate, I'm not sure whether they will give you the certificate of indigenship.
They will because your mother is known to them. So all what she needs to do, this is my child, she takes it to the way you went to your communal chief. They go there and they will issue it because it's a son of the soil. And if you are taking to your father's place, they also give you, because I know some Lebanese who have children here.
Okay.
They are Nigerians today. The father
Naturalized.
no longer here. No, not naturalized. They are not here. But because the mother is from Nigeria.
And there is this provision that if you live in a particular place for 30 years, I think something like that.
It's like a constitutional provision.
You become in that citizenship. In that citizenship section, I think there's a number of years you will stay in a place in Nigeria. You can be called an indigenous of that place, politically speaking.
I think it's more of an implication. Like you've lived all through your life in Port Harcourt, and the people liked you and loved you. You can stand election and win election there because you're in Nigeria. But you cannot put your name as an indigenous of River State. You cannot.
Now, if a child is born here or elsewhere in Nigeria and he grows up there and spends all his life in that place, will the issue of indigenous also affect him in respect of where he was born and brought up?
Well, you are in Nigeria now. I know that your children are all from Abuja children.
Yes.
Mine, they are Lagos children,
Yes.
most of them.
Yes.
I'm a Castina boy.
Yes.
But can I go there and claim? Have I ever feel that apart from place of birth?
The reality on ground, is that it may not be accepted that even though you have stayed most of your life in a particular locality, that you automatically become an indigene of the place. And that brings us to the question whether we still need, at this stage of our development, we've been independent for the past 60 years, whether at this stage of our development we still need to apply that concept of indigenship based on where our parents come from. For this, in the spirit of national integration, we want people, to give their best in the community where they are staying. I think the government needs to clarify that issue of indigenship, to go back to that position that you have said, that when a person stays in a particular locality, for a certain period of time,
Yes.
he should be considered as a resident. We may not want to use the word even indigene, a resident of the place that qualifies him, to enjoy all the services, that a person that ordinarily is indigenous to that place comes from. So whether it comes to appointment, as far as I have stayed in FCT, for instance, for a period of 5 years, I should be entitled to, whatever is meant for the FCT, whether it's an appointment or whether it's in services that government agencies provide.
All right. Lagos State has gone beyond this issue, because if we look at even their political arrangement, people that are visibly maybe from the east, from the north, from the west,
and other western states,
says they also participate in governance of Lagos State, just like people from Lagos State.
yes.
What lesson can they?
Lagos said they are center of excellence. In short, they are pace setters. That's your. But I think they are pace setters. Most of us went there and did not want to leave because of the level of acceptability. Nobody knows where you come from as long as you are doing the things that concerns
The community.
the community.
Yes.
Yes. People own lands. They don't look at your face to sell you a land. You do things. They treat everybody the same thing. When the free education was on by Jokonde, everybody benefited there. Everybody. They've gone beyond, because if you see
in Lagos, they treat people born in Lagos. If there's evidence that you are born in Lagos, they treat you like a Lagosian.
No, yes, you are a Lagosian.
Yes.
Really. That's why I told you here that my children are Lagosians.
Yes.
Because they were born there.
Because the yardstick they use is your birth certificate. You get to the maternity.
Yeah, maternity.
Hospital where you are born. They give you that certificate of which you are looking for. But for them, is it not supposed to be a national policy?
No, you see, that's why I said they are pace setters and they are center of excellence.
Yes.
With time, most of the things we do now, if you look at the Administration of Justice Criminal Justice Act, it's Lagos that did it first.
Even the
2011, before this current vice president.
Even the uniform rule.
Everything, they are the ones.
First.
Yes, everything they start because of the level of people there. If you see discussion taking place in Lagos, it's different from discussion taking place in any other part of the country. You understand? The problem is that they bring everybody. During when Tinubu was the governor there, he brought in people from all walks of life, set committees to decongest Lagos. 2 of my friends were part of it. When Fashola came on board, that time they moved to Port Harcourt. He invited them for the implementation of the Oshodi decongestion system. So if we do that, people will like. Now when you are doing certain things, you even to build a house, some houses you don't want to put the best because you are not sure.
You are not an indigenous.
Because no, tomorrow they will tell you to get out of this place.
Get out of the place. But I think that at this stage,
we should go beyond that.
like you said, that Lagos has set an example. But I also think the federal government needs to show leadership in this area.
Yes.
Let's not continue to wait for a particular state to set the example before we do that. At the national level, we need the government. The government needs to show example.
Yes.
Let me come to this.
Yes.
Like I mentioned earlier at the beginning, that perhaps this is because the certificate is because we want to comply with issue of federal character. Okay. You see that in appointment, you see that in admissions in schools, we have the quota system and the rest of them. I think the leadership that the federal government needs to show here is that, look, even though these policies allow the federal character quota system, that at least we need to set a time limit. We can't continue to do that for the rest of the life of this country.
Of the country. Yes.
We should set a time limit that, look, by the next 20 years, we are going to abolish this policy. So every community or every state needs to, pick up. That at the end of this period, look, we are going to go back to a uniform system where we are looking at merit completely.
As Nigerians, look at
as Nigerians, yes.
Then the issue is federal character, quota system. Some people argue that local government certificate of origin is because of system failure. That there's supposed to be a data without you carrying the certificate. If you say you are from River State, they check where you are saying you are coming from.
No, that's what the national ID card has done. the current one. Yeah, it's like these ATM cards or anything. You just slot it in. It gives all the information, including your driver's license. That's what it ought to do. That's how it's captured to do. You just carry that one. Even the voting, you can use it because it will show that you registered in Port Harcourt. It will show there. If you want to change the registration, it will also be captured. The data, because it's one database they're trying to form.
Yes.
But what is happening is that a lot of people are kicking against it, starving that body of funds to do the registration. That's why a lot of us don't have the new one, even though we've registered. You see, it will do that. That is what we do. The problem is that, as I said, leadership is the biggest problem of the country, because there are a lot of people who still live as if they are in 1945. One day I had one man talking about Action Group in 2017.
Well, gentlemen, this topic can never be exhausted as it were, but leadership is important. Also, education is also, civic education is also part of it.
No, what you are saying is an institution. Leadership is all about an institution. If the leadership is gotten right, then everything will be right. It's just like what the Bible used to say, that seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Every other thing. That is what leadership does to a nation. They don't need to have it in a simple natural resource.
Right, gentlemen, thank you for coming to the program.
Thank you very much, yes.
Thank you for coming to the program. Well, viewers, this is how far we can go on this topic and this program today. Join us on subsequent editions of the program when we talk about issues that affect us legally. My name is Chijoke Kanu. Until we meet again, God bless you.